You buy your dream home, your forever home, fill it with furniture and everything that makes you comfortable. You can actually see your grandchildren running through the house up and down the staircase.
A year later, you decide to liquidate almost everything you own, put the house on the market, and move to Mexico, sight unseen. We're Chris and Jackie, and this is a series we do called Aprende Más, where we hope to share just a little bit about what we've learned so far in our short time of moving here to San Miguel de Allende. So as you kind of heard from the intro, like, we kind of did this the hardcore way. Like, we just kind of picked up, dropped everything, and just rolled out.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
And I think a lot of that motivation was you, on one hand, and like, where was your mental space at that time? Like, it was a lot going on. Like, what was really pushing us to, I guess, to leave America is really the question.
Yeah. The biggest issue really is that America is going backwards and going backwards fast.
So you want to say specifically Trump's America? Is that?
Very Trumpy.
Yeah.
Very Trumpy. And like, it's always been there, right? But there's just always been a level of civility. And it appeared that there was some kind of forward progress being made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then this guy rolls up on the scene and he's just like, no, we're going to have it my way or the highway. And it wasn't just him, it was also people around him. Mm-hmm. No one said no. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you realize, like, the America that you've been living in that whole time, that you thought was slowly dying away, that was, like you're saying, that forward progress. Like, the progress maybe wasn't as forward as you thought it was. It was more of the things that were fighting against you were being quiet. Mm-hmm. And now they had somebody to say, hey, it's okay to do the things that you were doing before. Mm-hmm. Feel free to speak up about your racism. Be yourself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's okay to be racist.
Yeah.
And I mean, just outwardly ugly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we saw it. We saw it come out, you know, when President Obama was in office or what have you. But it still, you know, it still had boundaries. Like, there was still a boundary.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just is not the space and place that I want it to be anymore. And then you know, we just got the anniversary, 3-year anniversary of January 6th. The terrorist attack on the Capitol. Yeah. That's our hometown.
Yeah.
You know, that's our hometown. And so it's more than my country. Like, seeing that's our hometown. Mm-hmm. I used to ride the H11 from Temple Hills into DC. You know, I used to go past Constitution, you know, Avenue. I've gone to, I mean, that's our home.
Yeah.
Right? And so to see that, it really broke my heart.
Yeah.
It really broke my heart. And to see how our neighbors and the leadership of our country, community, small, wide, right? Small community, big community, how they accepted that, embraced it, and didn't correct it. And
then,
allowed that.
Like, on top of that, you add COVID, and COVID changed not only like the handling of COVID by, you know, the president at the time, as well as the way it just changed the complexion of the way that you work, the way that you live. Mm-hmm. And you see this option of like, I don't need to be in this one place to do a job. I can do it remotely.
Right. I tell people, you got options.
You got options.
Now
like,
you have options, right?
We don't have to stay in North Carolina. We could be someplace else. Mm-hmm. So if you put all those things together, it gives us an environment that says, you know, we don't like where the country is. We don't like what our hometown has turned into. We don't like who's in power and the things they're doing to us. And we now have the option to be someplace else. Yep. We're not tied to this place. Yep. So, you know, we decided that we don't want to be here anymore. We want to be someplace else. Yep. And there's several ways to go about being someplace else. And we chose the way to just drop it all, get rid of it all, and just
Band-Aid puller offers.
Go. Just get out.
But I'm going to say this too, babe.
Yeah.
The other elephant in the room too is the violence.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, I am not so goofy to think that you can, live in a place where there's no violence, right? So
Yeah.
there is no place where you can ever find where evil's not present. I understand that. And I think we all understand that, right? However, again, boundaries. Where are the boundaries? So are we saying that there is no care and concern for people, regular people, children, old people, young people, white people, brown people, there's no care concern for anyone to go grocery shopping, to go to church, to go to the bank, doctor's office, for our children to go off away to college. We have a son who is a high school teacher. I pray all the time for teachers, their safety. We weren't praying about this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Safety, yeah, but we're talking about maybe a storm. We're not talking about our neighbor having the ability to go somewhere and just go and devastate and terrorize the community. So that's another thing too. The utter danger and despair that our country is allowed to stay in. And again, that goes to the leadership.
Yeah. And once you put all those factors together, it becomes a lot easier to say, let's just get rid of it all and go.
Can I say one more thing?
We have a limited amount of time, but
okay, one more thing. I promise. The other thing, I guess it's a threefold, right?
I think that's number 4 now, though.
You sure?
I'm certain it's number 4.
I can't count. There's a premium. So we have to live in this kind of an environment and pay $200, $300, $400 car notes, right? $3, $4, $5 gas, right? $3, $4 for a dozen of eggs. You understand what I'm saying? $9, $10, $12 for a pack of bacon. There's a premium on all of it, and we don't have to pay that.
Yeah. So again,
I'm sorry.
All those heavy things weighing on you at one time, you want to get up and go. And we went sight unseen. I'll say sight unseen in person.
Yeah.
But I think, those of you watching right now, you may be doing the same thing we did at that time of like watching YouTube videos, doing as much research as possible to figure out, what does life actually look like? And, we were looking at, Cortez Ross and Merida, Michelle Wedderborn and San Miguel, the Mexican relocation guy, which is a huge resource for us to kind of get the things we need to get here. The guy in La Paz with the cowboy hat, I forget what his name is, the straw cowboy hat. The Country Collectors, who are now broken up, and Tangerine Travels, who are now broken up. Yarborough's, it seems like traveling can bring a couple up. So, traveling and doing YouTube probably.
YouTube University.
Yeah. So we did as much research as we could to understand what we were kind of walking into.
Right. But we coupled that too with my experience of international travel.
Right.
So you hadn't gone international before, however I have. So 25 years ago, Ireland for almost a month, South Africa for almost a month, London, for a day trip, but to be able to actually observe other communities, other, other, how do you say it, cultures, in action, and also being able to compare and contrast how it was here in the States and then how it was in those other countries. For me, it was a no-brainer.
Once we made that decision that we can't be in America anymore, you have to understand that no matter where you go, you're going to have to make it work for some amount of time. So we start looking at options. We're looking at Africa. We're looking at Costa Rica, Portugal, Panama. But I think Mexico really became the choice because, number one, it's close. We both have, a little bit of knowledge of Spanish. We worked in kitchens for years, so we worked with a lot of Hispanics in the kitchen. So at least I know food. I can say I can,
eat.
I can eat regardless. And also we still have family back in the States. We have 2 sons, and
it makes it easy to train.
Easy to kind of get back and forth. Whereas Africa, you got to go across the Atlantic, and that's a whole day or 2 at least of travel. So Mexico just seemed like a good option, looking at all of the visa things involved with it, and we were able to qualify, and it wasn't too difficult of a process. So we said, okay, Mexico, that's the thing to do. So we did as much of that research as possible. Found some realtors in the Mexico Relocation Guide. Shout out to Joan at San Miguel Rentables and Ellie Lopez, who helped us out a ton.
Super nice.
So kind of, I think the weird thing is we kind of chose San Miguel really because of my mother, I think, kind of gave us. We were looking at a bunch of different places in Mexico, Morelia, Puebla, maybe
Merida?
Mexico City, Merida for a second. Yeah. But like most people, we don't want to be in that Merida heat because it's ridiculous.
They say it's hot and hotter.
Yeah. So we ended up going with San Miguel. My mother actually kind of put us on to it because she had always kind of wanted to go to San Miguel.
And we really, I didn't know.
I didn't know it really existed either.
Because I did. I reached out to him like, hey, Mom, because whenever we make a move, like, we want to see if anybody else want to roll too. And it's like, hey, Mom, have you ever thought about going to Africa to live? You know, she's a designer and, you know, very much in tune with the culture and everything. And I figured she would have said yes. She said she's always wanted to visit, but never to live. And so, but Mama said, but I really want to leave the North because they came, you know, they left Detroit. And said, I got to get somewhere warmer. But she had been researching Querétaro, which is a city about 45 minutes to an hour away from San Miguel. And that's where one of our closer international airports is located. So you know how it is now, the day of WWW and everything that you can research online. We went in, right? And just started researching. It's like, wow. And then intros, YouTube University. And being able to see, you know, walking tours and hear people's experiences. And it's like, wow, it's really beautiful. And then doing research from the government websites and the weather, right? I mean, there's all kinds of things we took into consideration. Because we were looking at Puebla. It's too close to a volcano for me right now. I'm not that adventurous. But we did. We looked at many places, right? And I mean, one thing don't overlook is those walking videos on YouTube where the guy just has a camera up and he's in his car or a motorcycle or just walking down the street and you can just kind of see what does it actually look like when it's very
not?
Helpful, right?
Because a lot of YouTube videos are like travel videos, and they're giving you the shiny, they're giving you the touristy stuff. They're not giving you the normal everyday life. So like those walking videos are really great just to see what does it look like when I'm walking down the street.
Correct. But those are very helpful. They're very useful.
Very.
Stop looking at all the Chile Quiles videos. You know what I'm saying? Like, get away. And even for San Miguel, we're known for that parroquia, right? And the view. And we're going to show you the views. We're going to show you those, right? Because that's part of our day-to-day experiences, you know, if you go out or whatever, and there it is. But still, we're going to talk about the regular things. You know?
And that's part of the reason I think we wanted to put together this channel to kind of share a little bit of what everyday life in San Miguel looks like. Because, you know, if you live in a touristy city, you know there's always a disparity between the place where everybody goes to spend their money versus the place where the regular people live.
Correct.
So like just being able to see, okay, that's great, the parroquia is there and there's all this stuff here, but your daily life may be a little bit different than being at the parroquia every single night and every single day.
Because Central is not, you're not going to go there every day. It's just not a thing.
After a while, you're going to get tired of the crowds, like you know most of us do. So yeah, we chose San Miguel, but we also took a pit stop before that, and we took a vacation / residency trip. And part of that was because of like Mexico Relocation Guide. We found a great facilitator and she showed up in a couple YouTube videos and the laws are different in Mexico depending on where you go.
Correct.
So depending on which state or city you go to for your residency, the rules are just a little bit different,
not in a shady way.
Not in a shady way, but it's not
just like in the States. You know, something that's illegal in Maryland may be legal in Colorado.
Exactly.
So it's not shady. It just is what it is.
It is what it is. So La Paz just happens to be an easier process. Like we were able to get our temporary residency first, and we went back a couple months and got our permanent residency. Whereas in other places you may have to wait until the end of your temporary in order to get the permanent. So there's little things like that just kind of helped us out, and then also. It was a vacation. It was on the beach, and it was La Paz in the time of the year when it wasn't super duper hot. So it was
this La Paz, y'all, is south of California.
Yeah, Baja California, sir. Not too far from Cabo. Everybody kind of knows Cabo.
Yes, exactly.
So that was really sort of a great introduction, I think, to Mexico, because also that part of Mexico in Baja California, sir, is close to California. There's still a lot of English there, so you don't feel like you're as far out on the limb of not knowing what's going on. Not as much English as San Miguel, particularly, but it gives you sort of that first introduction into Mexico, and we were able to do it in a way that was relaxed. Like we didn't necessarily have to do a whole lot of working. We could do a little relaxing, see the city, take care of our residency stuff. And then from there, we did fly back to San Miguel and stayed in a hotel for a little while until we kind of found our permanent place.
Right.
And we came in, after Thanksgiving. So that's sort of like in the heart of the busy season. So things that were on the market would tend to be more expensive, and there tends to be fewer things on the market as well.
Right.
And we lucked out and found the place that we found at a pretty good price, about 18,000 pesos a month.
Right.
So we were able to kind of come into San Miguel and start off pretty much the way that we really wanted to. So that was like really the big push for us to kind of get out of America, get into Mexico, get our residency stuff started and taken care of, and find a place to really call, a home for right now as we kind of get our legs together and spread our wings a little bit.
Right.
So next episode, we're going to spring into some other things, get a little bit more detail into San Miguel itself, some of the decisions we made about, where we want to live, how we wanted to work, job situations, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's going to be good.
Yeah, so like,
That's gonna be good.
job situation is always, for those of you who kind of live here and work remotely, it can be a little weird sometimes. Interesting, I'll say that much. So yeah, thanks for kind of following along. We'll catch up with you guys next time. Go watch another video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let us know, what else do you want to know about sort of life in San Miguel on a small scale and not so much the touristy stuff. So again, we're Chris and Jackie. This is our series Aprende Más.
Aprende Más. Cuídate.
And Cuídate.
And Happy New Year, too.
Feliz años.
Yeah, depending on when you watch this.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.